Hello and welcome. Today, we are getting into something that trips up pretty much everyone at some point, phrasal verbs. You know those little two-word phrases that can totally flip the meaning of a sentence. When you get them right, you sound fluent, natural, but when you get them wrong, well, things can get weird fast.
So let's take these two, for example. Do-over, makeover. Are they the same thing? Not even close. And it's these tiny but super important differences that we're going to unpack today. We're going to start with how these verbs can completely change the way we talk about conflict. All right, first up, conflict. Let's talk about standing your ground. Whether you're in, a heated debate with a friend or defending a castle, the phrasal verb you choose paints a totally different picture of what's actually happening. To make this really clear, let's set the scene. Picture this. You've got defenders up on the walls of a fortress, and there's an enemy army marching towards them. How do we describe what the defenders are doing?
So, you could say they stand off the enemy, or they hold off the enemy. And they mean different things. A standoff is all about maintaining distance. It's a stalemate, right? Neither side is advancing. But to hold off an enemy, well, that suggests you're actively fighting. You're trying to delay them, maybe buying some precious time for reinforcements to show up.
So here's the bottom line. Standoff is about position. It's a defensive stalemate. Hold off, on the other hand, is about active effort. It's a temporary delay. One is static, and the other is a full-on active struggle. See the difference?
Okay, but what happens when things get more intense? Let's say the enemy is now right at the gates. The action is seriously ramped up.
So we know hold off is about delaying them, keeping them at bay. But hold back, that's a whole other level. To hold back an enemy means you are physically stopping them in their tracks. You're restraining them, preventing any more progress. It is a much more forceful, direct act.
So let's just recap that real quick. Holding off is about warding off an enemy to buy time. Holding back is about physically containing them. It's a tiny change in one little word, but it makes for a huge difference in the outcome of that battle. All right, let's shift gears. We're moving from conflict to progress. Because how we talk about, just getting things done or asking someone to wait a second, that's also packed with these subtle little shades of meaning. Think about it. If your boss tells you to continue with a project, what does that actually mean? Are they saying you should resume after a break, persist even though it's hard, or just steadily keep going? Let's break down 3 verbs that all seem to say continue, but don't. Okay. Here are the big 3 of continuation. Get on with it is about starting or resuming, especially after you've stopped. Keep on has this feeling of persistence, like you're pushing through a real challenge. And then there's carry on, which feels more steady, more resilient, like that famous British saying, keep calm and carry on. And just look at how the tone shifts with each one. Get on is very practical, very forward-looking. Keep on sounds determined, consistent, and carry on feels resilient and maybe a little more formal. So choosing the right one is really about understanding the kind of effort you're talking about. Let's try another one, a situation you've probably been in 1,000 times. You're on the phone with someone and you need to look something up really quickly. What do you say?
Hold on or hang on. I mean, they both work, right? But they send slightly different signals. Hold on is pretty neutral, maybe a touch more formal. It's a simple request to pause. But hang on, that's more casual. It can even feel a little bit urgent, almost like you're asking them to, just bear with you for one more second. So it really comes down to who you're talking to. If you're on a formal business call, hold on please is probably your safest bet. But if you're talking to a friend, hang on a sec is completely natural. It's all about that social context.
Okay, for our final section, let's look at the language of creation, of transformation, and of revealing secrets. Because here again, these little words make a huge, huge difference. And we're back where we started. You've decided to redecorate a room, you've slapped some new paint on the walls, you bought a new rug. What did you just do to that room? Well, it all comes down to the scale of the change. A do-over is a refresh. You're just redoing something that was already there, maybe updating it a bit. But a makeover is a total transformation. Think about those big home renovation shows. They're not just doing the room over, they are giving it a complete makeover. Here's a good way to think about it. A do-over is just a revision. A makeover is a bold new vision. So next time you just rearrange the furniture, you've done over the living room. But if you knock down a wall, that's a makeover for sure.
Okay, one last scenario for you, and this one is a juicy one. It's about secrets. Let's say some top secret information is suddenly all over the news. How did that happen? Well, the phrasal verb you choose tells the entire story.
Now, you got to pay really close attention to the focus here. If someone gives away a secret, the focus is on them. It was their mistake, their carelessness, maybe even a betrayal. But if a secret gets out, the focus is on the secret itself. It implies it was discovered, maybe by a journalist or through a deep investigation. The secret is the active thing. So, to put a fine point on it, giveaway implies carelessness. Somebody messed up. But get out implies effort and investigation. One is about letting a secret slip out, and the other is about a secret being dragged into the light.
So after all these examples, what's the one big thing to remember? It's this. When it comes to phrasal verbs, context is king. It is absolutely everything. The situation, your tone, what you're trying to achieve, it all changes which word you should use. You know, paying attention to these small words doesn't just make you sound smarter. It actually sharpens your understanding of everything happening around you. So my question for you is, what other tiny words, what other phrasal verbs completely change the meaning of something for you? Think about it. Thanks so much for tuning in.